My name is David Riddle. This video is about several different types of adhesives that I use in my work as an inventor, designer, and manufacturer. After you watch this video, you can learn more about my career by visiting my invention video and additional cyanoacrylate videos on our channel. Today, I'm going to demonstrate and talk about two types of B.S.I. or Bob Smith Industries flexible CA adhesive, Insta-Flex and IC-2000, commonly known as cyanoacrylate or CA glues. But before we get into the details, both John and I would like to thank our more than 19,000 subscribers to our channel with only 9 videos that in less than a year have accumulated over 1 million views and with more than 2,500 comments that I personally responded to. I would also like to say that this video is not sponsored in any way by Bob Smith Industries. I purchased the product at retail or online just like you do. If this video has been helpful to you and you wish to purchase some of the B.S.I. products shown in the video, go to the description area and click on the More word where you will find links to Amazon to purchase all of the supplies used in this video. If you purchase through these links, John and I make a tiny percentage of money that helps make these videos possible. Many of our subscribers and commenters watching our other CA glue videos have asked if there are flexible CA glues that are more resilient to movement at the glue joint. The water-thin B.S.I. Insta-Cure that I used in our other CA videos is extremely strong as shown in the 2x4 end grain to side grain hammer test in our original CA video. But this type of CA is very rigid. Flexibility of the glue joint is very important when strong dynamic loads are applied or when the joint is continually flexed at the glue joint. In this video, we will be demonstrating two flexible CA glues that are very strong but at the same time resilient to flexing. This is especially important when the items to be glued, such as porous cloth and leather, would normally become very stiff and rigid when glued with regular hard curing CA. What I'm going to be showing in these demonstrations is the difference between regular rigid CA types and flexible CA types. What you see here are cotton hand towel cloths cut into identical size swatches with the same direction of the warp and weft to eliminate any variables, to act as test coupons. I will saturate these with B.S.I. Insta-Cure Rigid CA, B.S.I. Insta-Flex Flexible CA, and B.S.I. IC-2000 with superfine carbon and rubber particles, another type of flexible CA. I will place them on top of this Teflon sheet stock before I saturate them so they will not stick. I've put on nitrile gloves to prevent the CA from getting on my skin, but also because I'm using acetone, which removes all of the body oils from your skin, potentially causing the skin on your fingertips to crack. In addition, it's never a good idea to allow various chemicals to potentially cross the skin boundary and get into your bloodstream. First thing I'm going to do is very carefully push down the cloth or test coupon. I'm going to saturate this with Insta-Cure, a very rapidly and rigid CA glue.
This is the ultra thin.
Yes.
And I see the smoke coming off of it. Which, Dave, you don't want to breathe that smoke, right?
No, I do not.
Okay, so you're going to move away for a second.
Yes. And then I'm going to, as you can see, the curing process has actually curled it up a little bit. And then I'm going to use my spatula to pry this up from the surface.
And it's totally rigid.
And it is very rigid and very hot. It's very, very stiff now. Right. It went from a very supple cloth to a very rigid.
And the reason we're showing this is because we want to show the flexible one, and so this is the rigid one.
That's correct.
So you can see the contrast between both products.
Right. Now I'm going to clean the Teflon with a razor blade, a fresh new razor blade.
Do you have to acetone it again?
And then I'm going to acetone it.
Why are you acetoning it again? Because there might be
I want to make sure that there's absolutely nothing left on the Teflon.
Okay.
And I can see from the shininess that the acetone has been completely cured. Now I'm going to lay down another piece of cloth or test coupon. Now I'm going to take the Insta-Flex Flexible CA and I'm going to saturate the cloth with this material.
Will it smoke as well?
No. because it doesn't cure nearly as fast. Then I'm going to close it, and then I'm going to let it set for just a second, and then I'm going to spray this.
What are you spraying it with?
We're spraying with Insta-Set
And
Accelerator.
We'll show pictures of each of the products so you can see what they're...
Yeah. And I'm going to let it cure for just a second.
All right, you can see it curing.
Yes.
Wow, that's cool.
And now I'm going to pry this off.
Is it done?
Not quite.
Okay, we can fast forward it, so don't just let it finish. As folks, you can see we're in an extreme close-up here, so we're hoping Dave doesn't pull it out of the frame. Keep it in the frame, down, down. And is it flexible? Okay, down, can't see it, bring it in. Do you find it flexible?
Yes, quite flexible.
Okay, bring it into the frame. And
now I'm going to
flex it in the frame. Look at the monitor. Yeah, there you go.
And now I'm going to show a comparison. And now I'm going to clean off the Teflon again. I'm again flattening the cloth or test coupon. And then I'm going to be using IC-2000, which is a much thicker and higher viscosity glue. And so I'm going to be using a spatula to spread it out. I'm going to put some glue on here.
And again, we'll have images of these different products for you guys.
And then I'm going to use the spatula to maneuver this glue across the cloth.
How do you know how much to use? Do you just know?
Well, I'm just doing an experiment.
Okay.
I'm just trying to do this with the equal amount of material.
I would imagine if the more glue you have on there, the more it might not flex as much. Is that?
That's correct.
Okay.
The more glue you have.
So the lesser glue for more flex.
Right.
But then you have lesser hold, perhaps, if you're attaching two things.
Well, in this particular test, it's what's really we're doing here is to emulate what happens with a very flexible cloth when in reality now we're going to accelerate it with Insta-Set.
Which is the same one you used before. So it's
Yes.
the same product, the same Insta-Set for two different B.S.I.
Right.
products.
And you'll see that it slowly, it takes quite a bit more time to cure because of the other components in the CA, specifically the carbon and the rubber particles. And I'm going to be checking.
So this is going to take a little longer to set.
That's going to take quite a bit longer to set.
Okay. We'll fast forward, so don't worry about that.
I'm going to flip it over to make sure that it's fully cured. And then I'm going to grab it.
Okay, keep it in frame.
And you can see that it's quite flexible.
So it's still flexible. The glue's not cracking or coming
Right.
apart. Bring it back into frame and flex it so we can see.
Yeah, and we're going to do another test.
Show me a side shot, just like that. Now flex it. There we go. I can see the side. You're flexing it.
Okay. Now I'm going to compare the difference between the very, very flexible cloth, okay, and as you can see, right now this is extremely stiff. This is what the Insta-Cure. This is what makes Insta-Cure so hard and rigid.
The other cloth that looks like there wasn't even glue on it.
Oh no, there wasn't any glue.
Oh,
on
okay,
this.
got it.
There wasn't any glue. I was just showing how supple this cloth really is compared to the one with the Insta-Cure on it. This one's very stiff. And now I'm going to take the one with the Insta-Flex, and watch what happens when I go to bend this. As you can see, the Insta-Flex flexes completely.
Yeah, totally flexible.
Whereas this is totally rigid, and this is so much easier to bend, and it remains flexible. As you can see, this is the original one. Now I'm going to compare the IC-2000 to the Insta-Cure,
Yeah, go ahead.
and then you can see it still bends more on the IC-2000, although it's stiffer than the
Yeah.
in the Insta-Flex.
Yeah.
But you can see the Insta-Flex is very flexible.
Yeah.
Okay. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show here is the Insta-Cure, and as you can see, this leather is very soft, but this is essentially impossible.
Okay, explain what you did with this leather, though.
I glued the leather using Insta-Cure.
Okay.
This piece of leather says Insta-Cure on it, and I'm trying to flex it, and it doesn't flex. I mean, the leather was very flexible,
Okay.
but this made the leather, because it soaked into all the fibers of the leather, and made it extremely difficult to bend. So now I'll take the Insta-Flex material, and we're going to bend this Insta-Flex, and you can see the Insta-Flex. This one is not bending. This is the
flexible.
This is the Insta-Flex.
Right.
And as you can see, the leather is very soft and supple, but
Still
it
sticks.
it still is very flexible compared to the Insta-Cure. Now I'm going to take the IC-2000, and this one is when it comes to leather, it was different on the other one, but this one comes to leather. Look at it.
Yeah.
Look at how.
And just in case there's any confusion, Dave already glued these together previously.
Right, but you can see the IC-2000 is fully pliable in the leather.
Yeah.
You know, whereas this other one is this Insta-Cure is really rigid, really.
And just to reiterate, the point is the IC-2000 is going to leave a black stain on whatever your product is, which could be an issue. That almost looks more flexible.
It is more flexible in leather.
In leather, it seems more flexible.
It's more flexible in leather. It turns out the IC-2000 is more flexible in leather than the Insta-Flex.
Right.
But that's the way it is.
Okay.
But those are our tests, and they should provide an indication of how these test coupons all had completely different flex rates based on.
Right.
You know.
All right. Excellent. And then let's do some Q&A, Dave. Is there any time where you would not want to use accelerator with the flexible ones and just let it dry on its own for some reason?
You can certainly do that.
Does it affect
for this demonstration, I needed to have it cure rather rapidly.
But it would be more. Would it be more flexible if you did?
It's very likely that it would be more flexible if you did not use the Insta-Set.
Okay.
Because it does increase its rigidity. So if you have time, let it cure on its own.
Right.
Okay.
In other words, Dave is saying maybe do your own tests, and if you do your own tests, put a comment on there and tell us what happened.
Well, I would really enjoy that you would do these tests and make a determination and give me some recommendations for everyone to be able to hear those recommendations.
It's a community here, as you can see with so many comments. So we have a community going. All right, Dave. Before we close, just a couple of questions. Can you explain what are some real-world applications that flexible glue would be needed in?
Well, like I said before, when a joint is subject to dynamic loads, it can fracture the Insta-Cure CA because of the fact that the impulse of the load will possibly fracture it, whereas the flexible Insta-Flex and IC-2000, that joint is much more resilient when it comes to those dynamic loads or shocks to the load or the shocks to the joint.
Well, and again, but what would it? Give me an example of how it'd be used. Like gluing what two things together?
You can glue all kinds of different things. I'm just saying that if you need some additional flexibility, like say you want to glue some heat shrink sleeving over PVC wire, you'd want to use if you want to glue say heat shrink sleeving over wire, you'd want to have a little bit more flexibility, and you can do that with the Insta-Flex.
And as you mentioned too, where you showed leather, But a question I asked you the other day is, well, can you use it to patch a pair of pants? You said no.
No, you
Explain
could
that.
not wear it because of the fact that cyanoacrylate is not waterproof,
Right.
and it will eventually. That's why.
Even the flexible is not waterproof.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. It's not waterproof, and that's why if you you'll notice it sloughs off your hands eventually because of the fact when you wash your hands, it eventually dissolves the glue that is attached to your skin. If you found this video on B.S.I flexible CA glues and techniques helpful, please click on the subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you will be notified of our new videos when they arrive on YouTube. As said before, if you wish to purchase any of the products shown in the video, please click on the links in the description area. Feel free to comment on this and our other videos if you want to share your opinions or have additional questions. I promise I will answer every comment.